was doing bad. Back at the office again. Mm-hmm. I ain't got bulletproof on, but there's one thing. You ain't gonna kill me run over me. I feel fine pushing the car. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, mm-hmm. That's stopping. Nope, I did not stop. What's going on, good people? What's going on, bad? When you back ass again, Mr. Glasses. And choose the truth. Hear it. Fuck all that bullshit. But listen to that reappeal from media. I like to put in my archive where I listen to and shit. But that ain't the business anyway. And y'all gotta go through it now.
From the city where the bums rich. Skyscrapers block the rays when the sun hits. One time coming, niggas run quick. By the time a baby walk, he got a gun grip. I was made for this. 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 I'm not a product of the cages that they raised us in. Bred to be a king, I'm not a slave. Alright, peace family. Welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Productions. This your host, Brother Rich. I'm out here on 25th with Red Pill. I always enjoy our talks dealing with pop culture. I know that's where the attention of our people is at. And if we could use that as a vehicle to enlighten our people and raise the consciousness, then it's a beautiful thing. Yes. We did a video about a month or two ago about Meek Mill and the death of the Alpha Male, a certain energy that the brother brings to the game that we don't really see that much of anymore. So we talked about that. And recently, all over the blogs, hip-hop, we all in the hip-hop. Him, Beans, somebody that we all admired lyrically. Yes. When we was younger, everybody admired Beans when we was younger. Broad Street Bully. Game from LA. Game recently, I think he did an interview with Polite, so Game is definitely interested in this kind of information. So three brilliant brothers, and they on camera beefing, and for whatever reason, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Peace, brother. But what I want to talk to you about is black male ego, in the sense that we all been in some situations, right, growing up, just watching the whole situation transpire with Meek and everybody. We seen Beans get sucker punched. This is Beans, man. Beans ain't, like Charlamagne said, Beans ain't supposed to get sucker punched, man. Oh, just it's too much respect out there for him for that. But we all been in situations where sometimes you can't let certain shit slide. Where we from, man. So it's like, for all the brothers, like I done been through shit where something small turned into something big real quick. Fact. It started out as something small, some bullshit. It could be in something as little as a dice game. Next thing you know, it's like a beef with the whole block or something like that. So for all the young brothers out there that go through this, they're like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. What's your advice for something like that, brothers? Do you brush shit like that off? Do you keep it moving? Do you address certain situations? When something happens, man, we just can't let the shit go sometimes. Somebody say something that cross the line, they did something to you or your peoples. Talk to these young bulls out here about how they should react. Just watching the whole situation with Meek and Beans, and I'm sure they didn't want it to get to that level where Beans get duffed out. But what's your take on that, Red?
Wow. First and foremost, shout out to all of those parties involved. You dig what I'm saying? You know, if you happen to get dragged in this episode, you know, it is what it is. This is commentary based off of some of the fuck shit that's taking place and based off of what it is that we're observing. We're the observers at this point. Those of us that are part of what is called the hip-hop generation, you know, we're privy to sit back and watch some of our heroes, the legends, you know, the OGs in the game, the ones who are responsible for laying out what is known as the groundwork, or some of the people that are responsible for raising up some of these young pups who turn into old dogs who wind up biting their masters. Right? Now, what we notice taking place in our community or our neighborhoods is that the generations that preceded us have come up under the instruction, or rather the I'm looking for the word. They come up under the wing of the OGs that are part of hip-hop, because those were the fathers to the fatherless children. Those were the brothers who raised up these young men that had no pops. They was like, fuck that. I listened to DJ Clue and tried to look for my pops, and I found them. And people like Jay-Z and Beans and all of these other DMXs of the world, right?
So to speak.
So when you're dealing with a situation like that, that means that every single word that you said, even if you put words together just to make them shits rhyme, people walked away with that information or those instructions as the way of life. Thug motivation. So here you have a story of Meek Mills and Beanie Siegel, who would be looked at like this father figure, or the OG, the Broad Street Bully, right? Who raised up these young pups in Philly, right? Now these young pups have a life of their own. They popping, they in the limelight, they doing what they do, and they established a name for themselves, they established a way for themselves, you know what I mean? They are a part of Meek Mills now has younger people looking up to him as a father figure. He has young bulls in Philadelphia, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, with the PZ locks, with the PZ braids, rhyming in front of any camera that somebody turns on, want to chase their dreams. They're dream chasing. The same way when that young bull had his messed up braids, rhyming crazy, trying to be state property, trying to be what Beans and them was doing out there when they were running with Jay-Z on a hard knock life tour and doing these other things. So what we're seeing is a cycle take place. Now in the midst of that, the situation took place with Game. Beanie Siegel got involved as an OG. Elders for counsel, right? Youth for war. But instead of counseling, this nigga became part of the war. So there's casualties in war. And this is chess, not checkers. That's what he said. And if you play yourself out of step, you could get checkmated. All right? Because the rules that the young boys are following is not the same rules that a Beanie Siegel is following. Why? Because the OGs like Beanie Siegel raised them up on a different mind state. Okay? They taught them to operate with no pride. They taught these young boys to operate where it's money over everything. They They taught them to operate in a way where it's not street codes involved. These niggas are spraying the whole party. They killing women, children, babies, and everybody. That's not the code of the streets that the OGs operated on. Case in point. Go ahead and go on YouTube and look up American Gangster TV series. Go and look at Gangland. Every fucking episode is the same. What happened? They went and took out the OGs and let the young niggas run wild. That's when the murders started popping off. That's when the shit went out of control. Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia. What they was doing out there with the Junior Mafia, that's not what these young bulls is doing out there right now. They're not following the same set of rules. What them niggas in Chirac is doing is not what Jeff Fort and all of them was doing back in the days of Larry Hoover. It's a different game. And keep in mind, the people who helped set up the game, which is the system or the crack or the white man or the pilgrim, whatever you want to call them, they knew what was going to take place. So they was like, all right, all we're going to do is take out management. Because when you're dealing with gangs and when you're dealing with street culture, you could apply that to the same structure that you have in corporate America. There's management. So if we're in corporate America and they take out management, or they take out the manager, or they take out the boss, what you think is going to happen in that department? It's going to unravel. So when they take out management inside of these street organizations, what happens? The young balls take over. The young bucks. Look at remember Godfather with Sonny, and then they had Michael Corleone. All right, but then when the Godfather began losing the grip, Sonny the hothead took over, and that shit started going crazy. Okay, so this is very interesting that we're seeing. You know what I mean? This is a very interesting thing. It's a lot of cases like this that are taking place in a lot of different circles, in a lot of different situations, all over the place. The fact that this generation has by elders who did not give them the proper street codes. You can't give them the street codes when the motherfucking shit hits the fan. You can't give them the street codes later on in the game. You had to be responsible in the 90s when you was raising them up with your information. And now maybe you wasn't responsible, or maybe you didn't get the information from your OGs. But according to what you were saying, you said that the OGs raised you a certain way. Now, I'm not saying Beans directly, because Beans had a lot of wisdom in his bars.
We've set a guard.
Okay?
Should be with you soon.
Two of my favorites, OG rappers, are Styles P and Beanie Siegel when it comes to that street wisdom. But you gotta learn how to listen to that shit. You gotta know what you're listening for. But there's other people that will listen to his bars and they'll only get the gun bars. They don't pick up on the wisdom. They don't pick up on the pearls, because you cannot pitch pearls to swine. So what's taking place?
Where to, friend?
Right? Because the bull, I mean, we could talk about Beans and we could talk about Big, but what about the nigga who knocked him out? TV Bay. He said that he grew up with the young God. The young God grew up under him, and he has family ties. Now, I don't know the whole situation in between what happens with them, but what made that young man feel like he was righteous and stalling off on a legend, on an OG like that? You understand? How out of pocket was the OG that this man felt justified in sneaking him and knocking him out in front of all of those people? Okay? Huh? You know, Ice-T said one time, just to, you know, speak on that last part, it was a documentary, I forget the name of the documentary, it might have been Rhyme or Reason or Art of Rap. Art of Rap. And Ice-T was like, a lot of times the dudes in these crews, that's the only thing they can show you. They're not talented in no other way. So the only way I can show my loyalty to you is to knock a nigga out for you. That's the only thing I got going on. So what do you think about being surrounded, picking individuals where that may be all they have to offer? Because at the end of the day, if you red pill and you clocking in $1 million, but you still want to run the streets because you like to be close to the people, you may need some people like that. So how do you manage hiring people like that to be around you, but at the same time training them to have enough sense that to say that you're more than just a fucking a knockout artist? Because that's what a lot of these dudes are around these artists, from what I'm getting, and it's sort of what Ice-T said.
Yeah, well, the way that the game is right now, everybody needs shooters around them. Everybody needs that muscle around them, you know, to put in that work. You feel what I'm saying? Because eight times out of 10, the artists or the rappers, they not the ones that are, they not built like that. And even if they were built like that, it's a liability to the business agreement for them to be out there doing shows, putting on and beating niggas up at the same time.
Okay,
you can't do that in the social media era. This is not the hard knock life tour where you just go around the world knocking niggas out. That's not what's going on. So some of these shooters will do anything to be chosen by the person who they want to employ them. You think what I'm saying? Everybody's after the bag. Everybody's after that bonus. Everybody's after that reward. So there's a reward system in the streets, and the reward system is this. If I take you out with me, if I take you on tour, if I take you to the club to stand on the couch with me and we popping bottles and trying to impress models, you are here, you have a purpose. And if anything goes wrong, I need you to be quick on that trigger in the club, the same way that you quick on that trigger in the block. Because it's not like they taking niggas off the block who used to be in the house with their mama and they like, I'm gonna take you to the club and that's where you're gonna become a shooter. No, these niggas are shooters on the block. So they like, yo, the same way that you light niggas up around the way, that's what you're here for. It's the same way that these niggas are running around with paid security who happen to be off-duty policemen. And the agreement is, if anybody threatens my life, you plug them because what? You got the license and you can beat the charge.
But even off-duty policemen, they got a little more sense than dudes that's looking for a come-up, I would say.
Of course, but keep in mind, I was on tour a few times with some artists. You understand? They have enough mind to do whatever they got to do when they know that they can get away with that shit. Okay? They think very quickly, and they're like, yo, they'll assess the situation, and then they put in that work. The difference between them and the streets is, yes, the streets is a little more faster on the trigger and a little more hot-headed. You dig what I'm saying? So that's where you see a lot of shootouts taking place, a lot of altercations in the club, bottle fights, and niggas getting duffed out and robbed and all kind of other things. Because apparently the whole situation stemmed from the similar thing. Game, Sean Kingston, and them goons in the club who robbed his ass. Okay? So they was fast on the trigger. Alright? So all I'm saying is, people are going to do what it is that they have to do inside of any reward system because they want to be rewarded. That will change their status. Everybody wants to change their status. So the status goes from shooter to now you my right hand. Okay? You that man. You my top shooter. Alright, I might even mention your name in my bars or somebody's murder shit about a week ago. Alright? So people want to be recognized and they want to be mentioned and they want to be talked about and they want to be feared.
No problem.
So if I'm the shooter and you the one with the bag, of course I'm going to lay a nigga out right in front of you. And then I'm going to start leaning on you because I want the bag. Your girl is Nicki Minaj, or I want one of her friends. So this shit is very, you know what I mean? You got to remember, it's all about the mind state of these niggas. That they will do anything
You
to
got the
move
pickup
up in
point on
life.
your GPS?
So now,
Okay.
the gun is
All looks cool
to
from
put in
here.
work with the gun.
Just collect the
That's a
goods
part
and
of
bring them to the
status
warehouse.
inside of this death culture because everything that this culture is built around is involving death. Who is the hottest niggas? The ones who could interpret death the best on wax. That's who that is the hottest rappers. The ones who can articulate death the best. Or why is Young Thug popping? Young Thug could wear a fucking dress. Why? Because the word is he puts in work with that gun. Or he got shooters around him that he's not only a part of the death culture through the homosexual side, he's a part of the death culture through the shooter side. Alright? That's why they won't say nothing to him. So the culture is built around the whole death culture. Why you think homie on the other side with me? They're going back and forth to see who is more realer. What do they mean by realer? Meaning who would bring death quicker. That's what that is the fight. That's what they're trying to prove to their consumer base or the people who are going to worship them and follow them and make them, you know what I mean, and hold them up on a pedestal. They want to prove to those people that my gun goes off quicker than his gun. That's what we're dealing with. So inside of the death culture, of course, you're going to have shooters and people that are knocking brothers out. People, they're not going to think in the kind of mind state that brothers like me and you would think. They're not thinking about the revolution. They're not thinking about Black Lives Matter. They're not thinking about our brothers and sisters are getting shot down by the police. And that's where the real motherfucking gangster is. That's where the real revolutionary is. That's what the real, in these days and times, we're not talking about the 80s and the 90s. We're talking about right now. Not niggas that go in the precinct and hold hands with the police. You niggas are lame. Not them. The ones who are going to stand up for their people in the face of adversity. That's the real killers right now. That's the people that are modest. Not these niggas running around on social media talking about they're going to kill each other. You get no points for that.
You know, we're always told about the emotionalism of women. You know, we're always told, you know, women are emotional beings, and you know, you gotta be careful when you deal with one of them sensitive females because they get emotional. They get caught up. I want to talk about the emotionalism of the black male. And this ties into the male ego, where there was a time when you stepped on a dude's shoes. Remember the ice grilling era? If you looked at a nigga the wrong way, y'all was popping off on each other.
Yeah.
Like that was before the, you know,
You made eye contact.
You made eye contact. You're like, what the fuck you looking at, nigga?
Facts.
So it's like, is that emotion? What would you attribute that to? Is that the ego? Is that emotionalism?
That was hyper masculinity, right? That was hyper masculinity mixed in an era where people were in a more volatile environment. It was almost like the jungle or the Serengeti in a sense, where you had to, you know, possess certain qualities to protect yourself from people who are out here preying on each other. Okay? So if they smell fear on you, the same way that if me and you were walking in the jungle right now, because you can walk amongst the lions. I've seen it on multiple occasions on Instagram, on the Travel Channel. You got people hugging lions and rubbing them and everything. But the minute that lion smells fear on you or senses fear on you, exactly. So, exactly. So if you don't tell the baby to be afraid of the lion, the baby does not know that the lion is not, the baby looks at the lion like it may look at a dog or it may look at a cat. It's just a bigger cat. So, in that, predators smell fear on other predators. So in